I'm honestly very touched by how much you guys enjoy my Every Mythical Inaccuracies series. I mean, the Hercules video is still the most popular video on the whole channel. I really appreciate all the support on that, and I appreciate all the support on the God of War videos and whatnot. And of course, with a successful series comes a whole lot of requests. And I just wanted to make this video to show you guys that I do read your comments, I do listen to your requests, and I do take them into account. And I wanted to kind of take this opportunity to give you guys answers as to which requests are the most requested and what I'm thinking about each individual one. Obviously, this is not going to be every single request I get, but this is going to be the ones that I see pop up the most often and therefore have thought about the most. And by the way, one of the requests I talk about today is a video I'm actually currently working on. So let's see if anybody can figure out what it is. Let's start with the most obvious of the requests, the Norse God of War games. Yep, that's what everybody wants. Okay. Let me explain why I didn't just go straight into the Norse God of War games after finishing the Greek ones. One reason was because I had just done 7 God of War games, and I wanted to do something else for a while. It was a very long process going from God of War game to God of War game to God of War game. And I just wanted a break. So yeah, obviously I stopped and I went and I did Thor, and now I'm working on, another thing. But another reason I didn't, go right into the Norse God of War games is because, as I'm sure anyone who's played them knows, the Norse God of War games are much longer than the Greek ones and have much more lore that I would have to pick apart. There's all the, the tomes, the things you open up, the Mimir stories, the stuff Atreus reads. There's so much stuff to go over. And it would likely take me, I want to say at least 4 times as long to make a God of War 2018 video as it did to make the God of War 3 video. So I was thinking, man, that's going to be a ton of stuff to go through. I'm not sure when I would want to do that. And then I realized I could kind of make like a collaborative thing between me and you guys with that. Where I was like, hey, you know what? I just put up a compilation of all the Greek God of War games. Tell you what, you guys get this to 1 million views, I'll do the Norse games. It'll be, at that point, you guys will more than deserve that reward, and it'll be a huge motivator for me to do it. And you guys were really supportive on that video. I think that video is at about 300K right now, and thank you very much for that. I do appreciate that. Some people have said, though, it's probably not like a fair thing since it's a compilation of videos that a lot of people have already watched. So, I have thought about that, and I've been like, yeah, maybe you could say it's a little unfair. I just really wanted, when I thought about it, I was like, I really just think I wanted a God of War video to have 1 million views again, because for anyone who doesn't know, when I put up my God of War 1 video originally, that got almost 2 million views, and then YouTube took it down for complete BS reasons. I have a rant video about it called YouTube is Really Starting to Make Me Mad, if you want to know exactly what happened there. So it really sucked to lose that nearly 2 million views, and, getting that many views drove traffic to all the other God of War videos, and, when it got taken down, it kind of hurt all of their growth, and that was really sad, and I wanted to have that again. So you know what? Here's the new deal. I'll just make it easier for you guys. Just get any of my current God of War Inaccuracy videos to 1 million views, and I'll do God of War 2018. It can be literally if any of these videos get 1 million views. The God of War 1 re-upload, the God of War 2 video, the God of War 3 video, the Chains of Olympus video, the Ghost of Sparta video, the Ascension video, the Betrayal video, or the compilation video. You get any of those to 1 million, I'll do God of War 2018. Does that sound more fair? I personally think that's a lot more fair. And yeah, so there you go. The rest of the Thor movies. Yeah, I put up Thor 1, and then everyone wanted the rest of the franchise now, especially because I also tacked on Avengers in there, and they were like, oh, cool, can you do the rest of the Thor movies and the rest of the Avengers movies? I plan to. I plan to eventually get to all of that. Like, you know, I did Thor 1 and I tacked on Avengers at the end. I could, like, I was thinking, yeah, I would do Thor 2 and tack on Age of Ultron at the end, do Thor Ragnarok, tack on Infinity War at the end. But, you know, we'll see when exactly I do them. I was actually surprised my Thor video actually did not do as well as I thought it was going to. So, you know, I had to, like, pivot some stuff as a result of that. But I'll eventually do them. Like, I know you guys really want them. Especially, like, Thor Ragnarok is what I get requested the most. And then probably second most is Thor Love and Thunder. But if I did them, I'd want to do them in order, like I did with God of War. So I would probably do Dark World and then go into the other ones. But yeah, definitely got plans for that. The Percy Jackson books. Why? I don't get it. Like, I really don't understand. Every now and then I'll see comments saying, oh, the Percy Jackson series is so inaccurate. It's only like 60% accurate. Should I read Percy Jackson? Oh, only if you don't mind a bunch of inaccuracies. What are you talking about? I really don't understand what you guys are talking about. I read Greek mythology my whole life, and when I read Percy Jackson, I was like, wow, this is spot on. Obviously, there are tiny little changes, like Athena has kids, but, you know, it would be boring as hell if she didn't, so... But that's all I can think of. Like, what else is inaccurate about this series? Just the fact that it's set in modern day? I don't count that as an inaccuracy, really, because, like, they still acknowledge all the ancient stuff happened, and now it's modern day. I don't know what I would say in a Percy Jackson book inaccuracy series. The whole series would just be that one joke, I know this is going to shock people over and over again, where I just go, oh, I know this is going to shock people, but Olympus isn't at the top of the Empire State Building. It's like, you know... I don't see... What inaccuracies are you all talking about? Like, I'm really curious. Can you tell me if you're one of those people who keeps saying Percy Jackson is so inaccurate? What are you referring to? I'm very curious. Now, if you want me to do the Percy Jackson movies, that I can get. Though I already did do full reviews of both films, and I pointed out, like, some inaccuracies in those film reviews. So it's hard to say, like, what would happen there. Like, some people have said, hey, can you do every book inaccuracy in the Percy Jackson movies? I'm like, oh, that's an interesting idea. I think I could do that. But yeah, that's... I don't know why you are asking for me to do inaccuracies on the books. I don't know what I would say. Also, never done a book inaccuracy video. How would that even go? That would have to be a completely different style. The Clash of the Titans movies. Yeah, I could definitely see myself doing that. That's kind of a easy, like, just compare it to the original story thing, kind of like what I did with Hercules, because Clash of the Titans is supposed to be the tale of Perseus, and they get a lot wrong in those films. I don't think I would do both the old film and the remake, because I think I would say almost the exact same stuff in both videos. So I would have to make a decision. Am I going to do every inaccuracy in the old Clash of the Titans movie or every inaccuracy in the remake movie? And then, you know, either way, I'll still, like, go into Wrath of the Titans afterward, because that's another thing you guys asked for a lot. But it is something I definitely plan on doing. I need to decide, am I going to do the older film or the newer film? Because... like, if I do both, I'm going to say almost the exact same stuff. I don't think that makes for very good content to just repeat the exact same stuff twice. I'd want it to be more, you know, unique. Yeah, I know this from the guy who keeps pointing out the golden ichor thing, but, like, you know, that one's kind of a running joke more than just, you know, being lazy. Record of Ragnarok. Yeah, I could see myself doing that for sure. Definitely would be a messier, more complicated video, since that's every mythology at once, and there'd be a lot more to point out. I don't even know how I'd do Season 2, man. Season 2 would be really hard, but if I did do it, I'd do it season by season. I would do Record of Ragnarok Season 1, and then eventually Record of Ragnarok Season 2. But I could definitely see myself doing that. There's plenty to point out, like, why is Zeus considered the oldest god out of every god ever? There are many way older gods and stuff like that. They completely change what Ragnarok is, what Asgard is, like, what heaven is. Like, they changed so much in that series. And, like, it's not inherently a bad thing, but it is inaccuracies in which to point out in an educational inaccuracy video. So I could definitely do that. Age of Mythology. You know what's funny is how many of you have commented on my videos saying, there's this game you've probably never heard of that you should really check out called Age of Mythology. Guys, I've been playing that game since it first came out. I've been playing that since I was 8 years old. Okay? I've never stopped. I've been playing that game for 21 years. It's, that is my favorite, like, computer game of all time. Age of Mythology is so amazing. And yeah, I guess I could do an inaccuracy video of that. There's definitely stuff in there, like Arcantos doesn't actually exist in Mythology. The slight changes they made to the Trojan War and some other stuff. There wouldn't be a ton to point out, but I honestly think Age of Mythology would lend itself better to a review-style video than an inaccuracy-style video. And would definitely like to do that at some point. I definitely plan to eventually do some stuff with Age of Mythology. The thing about that game, though, is it's just so dear and precious, like, close to my heart, that I would want to do something really special with it. It wouldn't just be, like, another video that I put out there. It would have to be something where I do something really special with it, because that game, I actually owe a lot to that game. It's how I got into Egyptian and Norse myth, and it did so much for me. I love Age of Mythology so much. Apparently there's a remake coming out. Excited for that. So that ought to be cool. Moana. Yeah, sure. I could do Moana. Like, you know, what's really funny, Moana herself is not in Polynesian myths, so, you know, that would definitely be one thing. And they made some changes to Maui's story, obviously, to make him more kid-friendly, which would make an inaccuracy video very funny to point out all the actually messed up stuff that happens in his story. You know, while we're on this topic, I've also considered doing no one's asked for this, but I have thought it would be fun to do an Aladdin inaccuracy video, because you could count Arabian Nights as mythology. It employs several mythical elements to it that people actually did believe in. So, you know, like, I could easily do a video on Disney's Aladdin, the original, not the stupid remake. You know, which, of course, there would be no disrespect to it. Like, I absolutely love that film. But just like I absolutely love the Hercules film, I can enjoy it, but still point out what it changed for educational and entertainment purposes. So, what do you guys think? Would you want to see me do Aladdin? Like, because there's a lot of changes I can talk about. He doesn't, like, have his mother in the movie like he did in the story. The original story actually has multiple genies, which is pretty darn cool, and something I'd love to talk about in a video. So, yeah, please let me know if that's something you'd be into. And yeah, I could eventually do Moana. The thing is, Polynesian isn't my strongest mythology, but obviously, you know, if I was going to do a video, I'd grab like 3 different books and really read through it like I do for all my videos. But yeah, that's about that. Smite. This is kind of a weird one. Smite is not a game with a story. The story is really just, as far as I know, the gods are fighting each other. But you guys have asked me to point out every inaccuracy in, like, the gods' designs and stuff. Now, this would have been easier to do earlier in Smite's lifetime, because I have checked up on the game recently, and it looks like they actually went out of their way to make some of the god designs more accurate and more interesting. Like, Kukulkan used to be Ao Guang originally, but they changed it to make Ao Guang a little more accurate and repurposed that design for Kukulkan. Hun Bat's used to be Sun Wukong, but they changed it again to make Sun Wukong more accurate and repurposed that design for Hun Bat's. And, you know, I think that's really cool, actually, that they did that. I think the main thing I would be pointing out in an inaccuracy video would be, like, Scylla and Charybdis are obviously very different from how they are in myth. And the fact that a lot of, like, the gods in that game are just warriors or monsters that aren't actually gods in mythology. But again, Smite is the kind of property where I think it would lend a lot better to a review-style video than an inaccuracy video. Like, just a video where I go over the game, how it adapts mythology, and, like, what it does well, what it does bad, and so on and so on. It's been a long time since I've actually played Smite. I played Smite, like, when it was very early on. And then I stopped because MOBAs aren't really my thing. But I'm going to try to get back into it because you guys keep asking and asking and asking for it. And it's like, all right, if you want it, I'll definitely get to it at some point. Kid Icarus, specifically Kid Icarus Uprising. Get asked for that a lot. I've never played Kid Icarus. I only know him from the Smash Brothers games. But yeah, I could definitely, because you guys keep asking and asking for it, I'll check it out. I know Hades is in the game. And that's about all I know. I think maybe something to do with Medusa also might be in the game. But I'll definitely try to check it out and see if that's a doable thing. I'm not promising you that could be an inaccuracy video because I haven't played the game yet, so I don't know. But I do promise I'll check it out and see if it's doable. Immortals Fenyx Rising. Yeah, I could do that. Again, that's a pretty long game, so it might take me a while to make, but it doesn't have, like, the deep-ass lore of, like, the Norse God of War games or anything. I could definitely point stuff out, like the fact that Typhon doesn't have his 100 dragon heads and stuff like that, but there is a lot of other stuff they get right. The Hydra's not too bad. Like, did it have 9 heads? It's been a while since I played it. If you want to see me and Shane play Immortals Fenyx Rising, like, I've got highlight videos on the channel of that. Just go to the Let's Plays playlist. They're right there. But yeah, there's definitely some stuff I'm sure I could point out with Immortals Fenyx Rising. And yeah, it's not super high on the immediate priority list, but I think it's totally doable. The Fate series. I don't know much about the Fate series. I know I made one video joking about shooting Doji, but that was because someone in the comments told me to go check it out, and I just looked it up, and I was like, what the hell? So I haven't seen the Fate series. From what I can tell, I'd probably just be picking apart every single design from that series. But, you know, again, it's possible. I'd have to actually watch the show and see how that goes. And yeah, there's other anime you guys have requested. I think there's an anime with Majed in it, and I'm really curious to take a look at that. But yeah, it's something I'd have to watch, just like the Kid Icarus thing. I need to check it out first and see how it works. The Persona games. Again, haven't played them. I'd have to play them in order to really know. Do the Persona games actually have mythical characters in them, though? Or do they just have the names repurposed for other stuff? Because if so, I can't really do anything with that if that's all it is the whole time. It would have to be some kind of adaptation of mythology in some way for me to do a proper inaccuracy vid on it. But I don't know. I'd have to play them. Jason and the Argonauts. Hell yeah. Yeah. Easy. Could definitely do that. And that's all I have to say about that. The Northmen. There's nothing to point out. That's a very, very, very good adaptation of Norse culture. It's a fictional story set in Norse culture. The only thing I would be able to point out is this character didn't actually exist, and that would be it. What else would I talk about? It's a very good adaptation of Norse culture. The creator did an excellent job. It's not even mainly a mythology movie. It's just a revenge story set in Norse culture. But yeah, there's nothing to point out. If you want to know my overall thoughts on the Northmen, watch my ranking 2022 movies video. You know, you should totally watch that because not a lot of people watched that. Dante's Inferno. Now, are we talking about the game or the animated movie? They both, I would probably do the game if I was going to do one. And yeah, again, that's something I could totally do. Like, I played that game growing up. I thought it was fantastic. It's a very interesting and fun adaptation of the Divine Comedy. And, yeah, I could do an inaccuracy video for that. There's some stuff to point out, but, you know, that's a story that I think, if I recall correctly, is a lot truer to the source material than God of War is. I still love God of War, but, you know, like, it takes a lot of liberties, which makes for a lot of inaccuracy videos. But yeah, I could totally do Dante's Inferno at some point. So yeah, those are all the possible videos I'm going to talk about today. If there's one you really want that I didn't talk about here, feel free to mention it in the comments section. And yeah, why are people asking for the Percy Jackson books? Please help me understand that. Would you want to see me do an Aladdin video? Out of everything I listed here today, what's the main thing you want to see? Because I want to give you guys what you want. So I really appreciate the feedback and hearing your thoughts and hearing what you want. and everything. Would you be down to see like a review style video of Smite or Age of Mythology, or maybe the Northmen, since I don't think that lends itself well to an inaccuracy video? Like, let me know your thoughts. But yeah, hope this answered some questions for you guys. I don't know how to end videos.